Yep, everybody. Thank you for sticking around for part 2 of my video. I kind of looked at my bag and I kind of matched up each one of the Discmania discs was currently in my bag. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through, kind of see where I think this disc would fit along with what I currently have. So starting with the putters. I think starting off, I originally started off with the Aviator. This is my very first putter. It's been in my bag for absolutely ever. You kind of tell I got some chips and everything in it. So unfortunately this disc, it doesn't fly like what it used to and all. So I've been on a hunt to try to find a good replacement. And the Link actually has pretty similar numbers to it and all that. So I think this would be a good deal to try it out, get some practice in on it. And then before I got this Link here, what I currently been using, putting wise, like if I'm like within 30 feet of the basket, most reliably, I've always been going with a Berg and all that. Berg, like a lot of you probably known it. It throws like a brick and all that. So if I'm within 30 feet of the basket, even if I somehow miss it, deflect it off, it's not going to roll away too far. It'll stop pretty close. So my next shot, I should be able to tap it in. But Berg for me, it's been pretty reliable, close range and all that. So my main hunt for a new putter is like 30 feet and beyond. So 30 feet up until like where I might need to use a mid-range or something for an approach shot. So I think this Link might be a good option to get a little closer. What I have been using before this Link, Doomsday, first disc they gave me was a Gloom. It actually has pretty similar numbers to the Link. The only difference is instead of having a 0 on the turn, it has like a -1. So for the most part, this is a pretty straight shooter. It's pretty nice and round. It might be a little bit more domier than the Link. Then the Link has a nice little bead on the bottom, so I might have to compare these two side by side when things kind of warm up, kind of see how they fly compared to each other. Then for night disc golf, this is my other kind of fun putter. This is in their Doomsday's radioactive blue plastic. This thing glows for hours after you get fully charged and all that, so it's a good disc if you're playing nighttime. It's a little bit on the slick side for me, but for the most part, like I said, it's a good glow disc. It's just kind of fun. And the numbers on it, I think it was pretty similar to the Gloom. I think it just had a 4 on the glide. But for the most part, it flies pretty similar to the Gloom and all that. But it's a fun disc if you like glow dark discs and all. The radioactive blue, Doomsday did a very good job. I have a couple drivers that had that same plastic and it just glows for hours. It's a very good disc. And then just for fun, this is another disc from Doomsday. It's called a Depth Charge. It's very, very flat. You can kind of see that. The funny thing is, it's a 2-2-0-1, so you feel like it dropped like a brick and all that, kind of like a Berg. But for some reason, for me, it glides really well. So for me, if I don't feel like using my Desolation on approach, I might use this one. It does a very good job. Flies very straight. And it does have a little bit of fade at the end. So this is one of my other go-tos if I just need a safe approach. But yeah, one of my other discs is a putter from Doomsday. It's called the Area 51. I think that was actually my second putter after Aviar. I used this a lot last season, all that. It's very, very overstable, so I do have to loft it off a little bit to the right and it comes back in towards the basket. I beat the absolute crap out of this disc and all that. So you guys should have seen this disc before I took time cleaning it before this video and all. I had a whole bunch of mud, other scarring on it, stuff like that. Unfortunately, the reason why I've been substituting it out, you can kind of see it's slightly warped, and then the rim on the bottom, it just kind of has little cuts on it. This is the radioactive, I think it's the ration plastic, so it's kind of like Doomsday's cheapest baseline plastic and all that. So I think it's recycled plastic, that's why it's kind of cheaper. But it feels really good. It's nice and soft. Has a little bit of grip to it. Then for me, last night was my go-to until I still do throw with it. It's just really, really overstable. I think beating it up and all that, it just flies a little different than what it's supposed to, and how warped it is. I'm just a little bit. I feel like I'm a little bit more inconsistent with this disc. So if you're going for overstable putters, I think one of my favorite go-to. If I don't want to go straight to the basket, if I have to get around an obstacle, some trees and stuff, I really do like my Innova Pig. It's in the Halo plastic. It does a very good job. This has been one of my other workhorses for approaching the basket. Copperhead's just kind of fun approacher. It kind of flies kind of similar to a Pig, but I prefer a Pig over the Copperhead. I got the Copperhead because it's supposed to be like a float disc, like if I got close to water or something, but luckily I haven't got wet in a while for when it comes to putting. Then I just got a zone recently. I haven't took out a course in a while, but I think it flies pretty similar to my end of a pig. They both fly very similar, but I think I kind of lean towards the pig a little bit on that. So right now, that's kind of what's in my bag for putters. I'm constantly substituting them in and out. I think the main one's always in my bag. If I need something overstable, I stick with the pig. If I'm within 30 feet of the basket, I'm always using my Berg for a shot. Then if I'm beyond 30 feet, if I'm going to take a shot at the basket, I'm using my Gloom. So I feel like the Link, since it's pretty close to my AVR, I might get some practice. This one might be substituting some other putters. Alright, moving on to mid-ranges. This is one of my favorite categories. Like, since I got a little bit of a lower arm speed, I really started playing disc golf later last year. So I don't feel like I have the top guns to use the main drivers, fairway drivers effectively. So mid-ranges, I do a very good job. If I'm like within 300 feet, those do a very good job approaching or even take a shot at the basket. So, like I said, the two I got from Discmania today, the Glacier, and then the Night Prowler. So, I'm pretty excited on the Glacier because it's just like one of my other favorite. Right now, it's my favorite mid-range, the Desolation. If you look pretty close, they're very, very identical. I think right now, since my Desolation is super beat in right now, I love how it is. I like this radioactive green plastic. It's really grippy. It has a good feel to it. Every time I tee off with it, it has a very good snap to it. So I'm hoping the Glacier with similar numbers. I'll take it out on the course when things kind of thaw out. Right now here in Kansas, we had a big Arctic storm come through recently. We still have a whole bunch of snow and ice on my course. So maybe another week or two, I'll probably be out there. I'm anxious to try this on my course and all. But yeah, it feels really good. I just like the detail on it. It's kind of transparent, clear, so that one should hopefully make it in my bag when I try it out here. So now then, my mid-ranges that are a little bit more neutral. The Desolation, the Glacier, I'm assuming are going to be a little more overstable. So if I'm going to be taking a shot where I might have a little more tree coverage, where I don't have that option of my disc fading, I need to go straight, or maybe put a little anhydrous because the basket is a little bit towards the right. My two favorite go-to, I love the Mako 3. This Halo Plastic does really well. For me, like I said, it's a 5500. Whatever line you put it on, it just sticks to it. It's a very straight disc. And of course, everybody loves the Buzz. Similar numbers, the 5.4, -1.1. It's a pretty well straight shooter. They kind of go hand in hand for me, but I feel like for me, with my Mako, I'm usually averaging 15 feet farther than the Buzz. So this one I'm usually bagging more than my Buzz, but this one I love the design. It's a lot of fun. So it feels good. Everybody gets a lot of compliments on it. With the Night Prowler, the numbers are pretty similar to Buzz here, so I'm kind of curious how it flies towards my Buzz here. So if you look pretty side by side, almost very identical, I feel like. Pretty close. So this one is a 5 on the glide compared to Buzz's 4. So I'm hoping this might fly just a little bit farther. But yeah, once again, kind of anxious to kind of get this one out to the field to see how it actually flies. Then just for fun, since I live here in Kansas, we do have a lot of wind. So I need something that's extremely overstable. That's going to guarantee come back towards the basket or whatever line I put on. That's what makes sure it stays on it or has a reliable flight pattern so I can predict where it's going to land most times. So for me, I really like the Doomsday Frag. It's ridiculous on the overstable side. It's a 5.205, so it's almost like a tilt except in a mid-range. So then the fun thing for this one's like it actually flies farther if you throw it upside down. That's actually what I do sometimes. So it's like if I have a shot at the basket, like I said, it's too windy. If I'm kind of worried that one of my other mid ranges or a putter might skip a little bit, I will actually throw this upside down, give a little bit of hyzer. It'll go up, and when it comes back down, it'll come at an angle. That angle will stick and just kind of bounce the fall side. So it might bounce maybe 2, maybe 3 feet. But if you know your range, get that practice, kind of thumbing it upside down. It does a very good job just sticking where you want to go. That's kind of the other one when you go a little higher up. If you're looking for a driver, This is the Apocalypse. This is kind of the other special utility driver that I use every once in a while. This one, I think when they first released it, they actually called it a 14 speed. So it was a 14, 1, 1, 6. A 6 on the fade. So yeah, it was like a tilt except in a driver version. This one is by far the most overstable driver I've ever used in my life. So like I said, these two are strictly just for extreme heavy wind conditions and all that. So normal days, I don't play with this because this is the same deal. If you throw this one the correct way, I guess with the face up, it doesn't really go. It immediately turns, and I might get like 150 feet if I'm lucky, because the second you throw it, immediately starts turning and flipping over. So once again, it's kind of funny. This disc, you throw it upside down, it actually goes farther upside down. It's kind of same deal. If I don't think my frag's going to make it, this is the disc I'll grab. I'll take it. I'll throw it upside down. Same deal. This one I could probably throw 220, 250 feet upside down. That's why I give that a little bit of a hyzer going up. It'll come down. It'll spike kind of close to what I'm aiming at, and then it'll fall over. So there's no skip or anything we throw upside down. It literally just sticks in the ground and falls over. There's no real bounce to it. If you do throw it right side up, you might get a little skip or something like that. So it kind of depends what kind of shot you're going for. But for me, either like worst case scenario, and I need to make sure I get close to the basket and all that, I'll throw it upside down. I'll try and spike it close to it. So these two are just kind of fun. So. All right, moving on to kind of the fairway driver section. So we had a couple from Discmania that are 7 speeds and all that. Then in my current bag, I do have 2 7 speeds. I kind of alternate them, and these are the Doomsday chemtrails. These are their newest release, and I got the stamp called the Broken Crown. So they're just so the 7 speed. It has a 6 on the glide, 2 on -2 on the turn, and 1 on the fade. So for the most part, these discs are really fun. I absolutely love. This is probably my favorite 7 speed at the moment. So if I feel like some other fairway drivers like my Blackout I'll get to might be too much, or if I need just a little bit more than my mid-range, this the chemtrail does a very good job. So whatever line you throw it on, it'll flip up the hyzer, it'll come back down to you, and you really do feel every little bit of that 6 on the glide. So if you're throwing your fairway drives, I feel like they're a bullet. They come to the ground pretty quick. This will hang in the air a little bit compared to some of the other drivers. So a lot of fun. I enjoy it. So I'm pretty excited to see how they fly compared to the other two, FD and FD1 on the Discmania side. All right, so moving on up. I don't technically have a 9-speed. I used to have a Sidewinder, but unfortunately, I lost that at Night Golf disc, or at Night Golf. So I threw it, went in the bush somewhere, got too dark, I couldn't find it anymore. So that was a 9-speed. The Splice probably would have been my substitute for that. This one's just a little bit more overstable. So I might compare it with my 8-speed I have right now. So I have a Latitude 64 Saint Pro. This one does pretty well. I just like the plastic and the artwork on it. Does very well. And then my main workhorses for my fairway drivers are just simply my Blackouts from Doomsday Disc and all. This one, I think, is their survival plastic, so it's a little harder, a little grippier. And then this is their radioactive green plastic. It's the same plastic that was on my Doomsday Desolation. So very grippy. This one it glows kind of a nice light green at night. But yeah, this one's my main go-to. If I need to throw anything up to like roughly 350 feet accurately, this is one of my go-tos. Alright, the next one, I guess Discmania gave me a 10-speed here. So the TD, I feel like it would be kind of similar to my other two 10-speeds I have in my bag. So I got the Beast. I'm pretty sure everybody has thrown one of these before. And then Discmania had one kind of similar called a Dystopia. It had the exact same flight numbers as the Beast here. Both kind of similar. I think this might be a little dummier than the Beast. Then comparing it with the TD here. Very, very similar. I think the TD might be a little bit more, have a fatter nose, a little bit more domey on top or on the side here. So kind of anxious to get that in the field, see how it flies. Then moving up to 11-speed plus. Of course, we got the PP here, or DD. DNA. So yeah, for 11 speed for me, so far recently I've been enjoying the Mamba. It's just been really, well, obviously it's very understable, but once I throw on a hyzer, it kind of flips up, then it's not as bad. But if I throw it completely flat, it will go pretty far to right, then it might not come back. So if I have a basket a little farther to right, that's something I do like to use. It does pretty well for me. Then everybody has a Wraith, so I'll be kind of interested to see how it flies compared to the DD here. Then just for fun, I do carry 112 speed in my bag. This is the Guillotine from Doomsday. Unfortunately, it's not officially approved by the Disc Golf Association because unfortunately, my understanding was, I guess they said it was just a little too sharp on the side here, which I thought was kind of interesting because, yeah, if you look at the Mamba here, I think the point might be pretty similar, but as you can tell, the Mamba has like a little bit more of a dome here. Then this is just pretty straight and all that, so... This one, I mainly prefer, like, if you're doing a forehand or something, or a sidearm. It does a very good job. It just feels great doing a forearm throw. So anyways, thank you guys for sticking around, for looking at some stuff I have in my bag here. So when things warm up, I'll take these out in the field, get some practice in. I'll see if any of these actually make it in my bag and all that. So appreciate it. Then I guess if you guys are curious about Doomsday and all that, once again, go to doomsday.com, check out their disc. Go ahead and use that Green Ranger code. They'll save you a little bit if you want to check anything out. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.